All right, good morning, everybody. Today we're going to talk about body language. Is yours helping or hurting your deals? You may not realize this. So first, let's talk about what is body language. So it's the use of physical behavior, expressions, mannerisms to communicate non-verbally. This often is done instinctively rather than consciously. You don't really know what you're doing a lot of the times. Whether you're aware of it or not, when you interact with other people, you are continuously giving and receiving wordless signals. So if you're sitting next to someone and you see them making a face or doing some gestures of their hands, all of your nonverbal behaviors, the gestures you make, the way you sit, how fast or how loud you talk, how close you stand, if you're making eye contact, all of these things send strong messages. These messages don't stop when you stop speaking. It's not just because, oh, I'm speaking and that means that, I'm sending out messages. Like me, I wave my hands around a lot. Even when you're silent, you're still communicating non-verbally, right? How many people do you get annoyed when somebody's looking at their phone when you're talking to them or crossing their arms and they look disinterested? So why does it matter? Why does this non-verbal communication matter? Well, it's your cues. It's the way that you listen. It's the way you look, move, and react. It tells the person that you're communicating with whether you care. Are you being truthful? And how well you're actually listening. So when you're interacting with people, let's say on an appointment or on a listing appointment or a buyer appointment, how you act, stand, sit, talk, all of this stuff will send these cues to someone and can make a big difference of whether or not that relationship gets built. When your nonverbal signals don't match up with the words that you're saying, they increase, when they match up, they increase trust, clarity, and rapport. When they don't, they can generate tension, mistrust, and confusion. So even though you're saying, oh yes, I'm a great listener, I love what you're saying, but then you don't seem interested, you don't look interested, you're not acting that way, then that person is not going to trust what you're saying because you're not acting that way. Your nonverbal communication is not proving what your words are saying. If you want to become a better communicator, it is important to be more sensitive, not only to the body language and nonverbal cues of others, but of your own. Pay attention. Start to become a little bit more conscious of it. So let's talk about those nonverbal communication. What do they actually look like? So it's what you don't say that counts, right? So facial expressions, if you look at this guy in the middle here, does he have an insecure face? His arms are crossed. Is he hostile? Is he aggressive? Does he have an attitude? Body movement and posture, the girl all the way on the left, she has, her hand is on her face, is she lying? Her legs are crossed, not open to communicating. You have sunglasses on when you're talking to somebody. Are you hiding something? What are you hiding? The girl on the other side, she has her hands on her hips, but she's smiling. So she seems interested by the smile. The hands on the hips, maybe it's a defensive thing. We don't really know. And, the guy on the end, his head is kind of tilted to the side, like, I don't really think what you're saying is too true, right? So it's coming across as if they think you're stupid. And then the hands in the pockets is like, oh, I want to leave. So make sure you are aware of all the ways that you are standing and communicating with people. So repetition. These nonverbal communication plays 5 roles. So the first one is repetition. It repeats, often strengthens the message you are making verbally. Contradiction. It can contradict the message you're trying to convey, indicating to your listener you're not telling the truth. Substitution. It can substitute for a verbal message. For example, your facial expression often conveys a far more vivid message than words ever can. So if you want somebody to be excited about something, for instance, you have to seem excited. If you get me talking about Disney World, believe me, you'll know I'm telling you the truth because I'm excited. I'm sure my facial expression, my hands are waving around, right? You know that I'm telling you the truth about how much I love Disney World. Complimenting. It may add to or complement your verbal message. As a boss, if you pat an employee on the back, in addition to giving them praise, it increases the impact of your message. Like, hey, you did a great job. Or, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And you give someone a hug, right? That's the idea of the nonverbal communication. It complements your words. And then accenting. It may accent or underline a verbal message. Pounding on the table, for example, can underline the importance of your message. Have you ever been angry and pounded on the table? Someone was making you crazy? Obviously, you're angry, right? Your face is going to show you're angry. You're pounding on the table. You're angry. Your voice, the way that you are, is angry. These are all communication signals. So can it be faked? There's advice on how to use body language to your advantage, but the truth is, it's very unlikely to work. You have to be confident and in charge. You can't control every signal that you have. You're constantly sending out what you really think and feel, right? Let me use an example. You ever been in a fight with your spouse and you say like, oh, it's fine, but really you're not fine. And you're just, your arms are crossed or you're just looking the other way, right? And the person knows, hey, you're not fine. You're lying to me, right? The harder you try, the more unnatural your signals are likely to come across. Unnatural. That is not good. Remember, it's going to be untrusting. The person is not going to trust you. They're not going to believe you. It doesn't mean that you don't have control over your verbal cues. You have to be conscious. You have to make that effort to avoid sending those negative signals. So maybe it's just a habit of yours to cross your arms, right? You don't mean it in a negative way, but it's just a habit. You cross your arms all the time. But be conscious of that. Make an open effort to have that open stance and truly attempt to understand and listen. Try to focus more on getting that eye contact with the person. Understand what they're saying and why. These are ways to improve your communication. It doesn't mean you're faking it. It just means you're improving it. You're being conscious of the nonverbal communication that you are giving out.